Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastachare Shatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastachare Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jai Prabhupada Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaunitai ki jai. Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj ki. Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki. Shri Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. Harinama Sankirtan ki. Brihat Mridanga ki. Goa Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, Grand Gopasta Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namah. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Vachari Namaste Shrivari Pastachari Shita. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Today we're reading from the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, which is eternal, which is going on now. We've just had another chapter or another section of the Prabhupada Lilamrita here in New Mayapur, the Krishna Balaram Festival, Lord Balaram's Appearance Day Festival, with so many wonderful devotees. This is Prabhupada. People coming together and glorifying Krishna. This is Srila Prabhupada. This is Prabhupada's desire that, that this should be spread all over the world. Festivals. Prabhupada wanted festivals. In fact, in Los Angeles, he wanted it at one time to Mall Krishna Maharaj. Practically speaking, every day should be a festival. And it is a festival every day. Maybe we could increase the festivity, but it's a festival. Dancing. What do people do on festivals? Well, today is a festival in Tours. So if any of you are still here, try to make an effort to go to Tours. Oh, what about a translation? Who's translating? I forgot. Who's translating? Do we have a translator? Where's our French translator today?
Maybe they don't need it.
Well, there are people online sometimes. I don't know. Some devotees here, like Maisi, doesn't really understand English. And I don't know who else does not understand English in the room today. Anyone here can ask in French, does anyone need a translation?
Est-ce que quelqu'un a besoin d'une traduction en français?
Nice. Well, I don't know. You tell me what to do.
Can do individual translation.
Okay, well, whatever you decide. So today in Tours, apparently is the biggest, most busy day of the year. For Sankirtan is supposed to be. I don't know much about it, but apparently there's a big fair, street fair, and there'll be, according to Nitai Sachi, a lot of people in Tours today. They already started setting up stalls, I heard from the Sankirtan devotees yesterday. So I have not been on that day, so I have no personal experience, but they say it's a big day. So. And it looks like, I don't know, but it looks like the weather's reasonably good. I don't know. Pardon?
It's supposed to be hot.
Warm, so that will bring more people in. If it's raining, obviously it's not, but if it's a warm day, it brings more people usually. So bear that in mind if you're making your day's plans. Quite likely there'll be a festival. Now we take the festival into the street. How many people came for a Balaram festival? I think 400, 500, I don't know, maybe, something like that. It's nice, but it's not really many when you consider the population of Agui is probably 5 to 10 times more than that, the small village. And there are millions and millions of people. So we take, are you okay there? We take the festival into the public, huh? I remember writing an article maybe 20 years ago in Newcastle. Newcastle is in England. It's not a very big centre. There are not many people come. It's a preaching centre, really. And I wrote an article, I think, I don't know, speculated, but I wrote 30,000 people come to the festival in Newcastle. And it was just a Harinam on the street, and hundreds of people dancing, and everyone seeing the Harinam. Such a festival. Prabhupada has brought this festival to the world. The festival of the spiritual realm, where people somehow or another, good fortune, and even it's called Agyata Sukriti, they have no idea they're going to Tours today for whatever reason, to have a look to see if there's something interesting to buy or meet people or whatever it is. I don't know, they do their hang around. And then they see these crazy Hare Krishnas coming down the street, dancing and singing, and they get an impression in their hearts. A picture is like the eyes, the senses are just like cameras. They take pictures on the mental platform, and those pictures remain. They remain. They're there in their subconscious, and that picture remains, and that is Agyata Sukriti. Just taking, not a picture with the camera, but with their eyes or ears or whatever, of a Harinam party on the street. They say an average day in London, 1 million people are on the street, and that's just a guess, obviously. But anyone who's been to Oxford Street knows how many crowded. When you go up and down Oxford Street on Harinam, most days I think they go on Harinam in Oxford Street. And you can imagine how many hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world are seeing the Sankirtan party. Just by seeing it, they get benefited. Maybe it's a little while before it starts to sprout. I was just thinking today, Mahavishnu Swami, or tomorrow actually, he's leaving for Janmashtami in Uganda. Not many people go to Uganda, but he's going to be there for Janmashtami to encourage the handful of devotees there. When I was there, that was back in 1989, Brahmananda was in 79, not 89, excuse me, 1979, and maybe in 77 when I was there in Africa, Brahmananda Prabhu, sannyasi, wonderful devotee, early day devotee of ISKCON, told me that Prabhupada told him, because he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, we're wasting our time here in East Africa. These young people come and they stay for a few days and they leave and they steal whatever they can steal. They even attacked the deities one time, attacked the devotees. They were wasting our time, and Prabhupada said, no, don't expect to see any fruit in this lifetime. We are planting seeds. That was his reply to him. That's what he said to me, Brahmananda, personally. We're planting seeds. So don't think that just because people don't come here, we would, of course, the more we're open to welcome people, Krishna will send. But it's more, the other side, not more, but the other side of it, that seeds are being planted. Don't doubt that. We may not be very good gardeners yet to cultivate those seeds. We're trying a little bit. The more we become surrendered and purified, of course, Krishna will guide people more and more towards us, towards Krishna consciousness. But otherwise, seeds are being planted. Thousands of people in tours. Some of them have already heard and seen, and others have not, but they all get unlimited benefit. Just like they were reading here in San Francisco, I'm not sure which year, maybe 70-something, of course, when Prabhupada was at the Rath Yatra. You can read it in the database if you really want to. Prabhupada said, all you boys and girls, and there were probably 5,000 or 10,000 sat in front of him at the Rath Yatra as he was giving his speech. Most of them were hippies. Many of them were intoxicated. Many of them were not very well dressed. But Prabhupada said, all you boys and girls, young people sitting here today who see Lord Jagannatha here on the Rath car are going back to Godhead in your next lifetime. We cannot underestimate the power of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement and the power of his pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada went to San Francisco. Little test for you. Now, when did he go to San Francisco? Don't put your hand up unless you know. When did he go? San Francisco. Pardon? Well done. When in 1967? January even. Well, excellent. On the ball. Where did he go from? New York. He left his disciples in New York. They were all devotees. How long have they been in the movement? He left them to continue in New York. How many? Maybe they've been in the movement 20, 30 years already or not? How long have they been devotees? Hardly 6 months, exactly. Some of them were initiated in September 66, and in January Prabhupada leaves them to run the New York chapter. How many of you have been in the movement more than 6 months? More than, yeah. Not quite sure. Some of you are a little worried what to say here. When I was with a devotee who shaved my hair when I joined. His name was Sambanath Prabhu. We were together a reunion last week in Lincoln. Adikarta Prabhu was with us, and some of the other devotees. I think they've already left. But Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu was there with us, and others, Bhogini. And anyway, Sambanath Prabhu was there. He's one of the early ISKCON London devotees. And he shaved me up. He remembered the shaving up. I remember what he said. He can't remember what he said. He asked me where I was from. I said I'm from a town called Swindon. He said, oh, we don't have a centre there. Maybe after a few weeks you can go and open a centre in Swindon. Can you imagine that now? Where's the pioneering spirit gone? It's hard to get even devotees to go on Harinam, what to speak of anything else. You know, this is what Prabhupada inspired devotees. This is Prabhupada. He's not just a history of an incredible person, which of course you could say is there, or even just a philosophy. It's a spirit. He ignited a spirit, isn't it? He ignited a spirit in us where devotees would risk anything and everything. You know, because Prabhupada alone, as we all know, went to New York and he was fearless to preach Krishna consciousness. So we'll read something now, and this is one of those early days, and these devotees, like we're hearing about here, I don't know where you are actually, the marker's there, but where is it on the page I do not know. Who read last week, and maybe tell us. Who read last week?
Last week they made a mistake and they read Srila Bhagavatam.
Oh, they made a big mistake. Maha Aparad, they read the Srimad Bhagavatam instead of the Prabhupada. You are really, you have to do something different. Huh? I think this, we'll have to bring this up to the GBC. Dear, dear, dear. Anyway, I've got no idea. We'll just read from somewhere here. So the devotees in San Francisco, who knows some of those early devotees in San Francisco? 1967. I don't know what month we're on the pages here.
What time is it now?
Well, normally we leave at 2:30. Same, I believe, advertises 2:30. We try to leave as close as we can to 2:30. And we get back a little late, usually at 8 o'clock, something like that, because it's an hour and a quarter's drive each way. So, and then they usually do about 3 hours Harinam, usually, normally, something like that. And it's very, you were there yesterday on Harinam?
Yeah, I was there.
Friday. It's also in the evening, some people may be there, but Saturday afternoon is very, very, very busy. Extremely busy. Even on a normal Saturday, what to speak of. Let's see what happens. We're not the controller, but maybe it'll be even busier today. Let's see. So who were some of those early devotees in San Francisco? One, whoa. Very good, but don't be over enthusiastic there. Shama Sundar, I think you said. And someone else can mention someone else. If you want to read more about these exciting times, there is a book. I have it available. It's called Chasing Rhinos. It's an exciting book. It really brings you into the spirit of the times. Yes, Ekanath. Mukunda, the famous devotees. And another hand was here.
Jagannatha.
He came a little bit later, not much later. Not much later, read just a few. In those days, this is another unique feature. We read about how a moment feels like 20, 100 years, 20 years or more, or even longer sometimes, isn't it? In some of the pastimes. And perhaps you get that now when you join the movement. I don't know, because when you get older, time seems to take a different, dimension. But in the early days, so many, 1 month was like a millennium practically. It was like so many things would happen. In London in 1 month, the temple present changed 3 times when I first came. In 1 month. Services, you could have 4 different services within a month. Things happened quickly. It wasn't so, we're not proposing you should do that now, change the present 3 times a month. But Prabhupada wanted stability, but in the beginning it was like that sometimes. So in a month, many things happened. And if you've been in the movement a few months, you were like an old devotee. Yeah. I remember when I joined, I asked one day, well, how long have you been? He said 3 months. I was like, whoa, astonished. 3 months, Been in the temple 3 months. If you hadn't given a class after 3 months in the temple, there was something wrong with you. You had to give a class. Yeah. I think I was in the temple 1 month and I gave my first class. It wasn't a Bhagavatam. We used to have 5 classes a day. The first class I gave was Upanishad. We would all together sit and hear. No one had individual books. We only had temple book. And 5 classes a day, can you imagine? There was no need of Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti this and Bhakti that. There was nothing else but Bhakti. Didn't have to put a label to it. Everything was Bhakti. 8 hours a day on the street dancing and chanting. You complain, oh, it's going on too long. I've been out here 3 hours, I'm exhausted. Rain, wind, snow, or hail, no matter what, but it was out on the street in Oxford Street every day on Harinam. And that meant everybody, not just, a couple of diehards, including the temple president. There wasn't much to be a temple president of in those days. There was only one thing to do. And as in daily worship was go on the street and chant and dance. Clean the temple and get out the door. It wasn't very sophisticated or developed. It was very simple. So there's obviously a lot. There were no congregation. I mean, very few, maybe 1 or 2. But otherwise, you were in or out. If you were out, you were not a devotee. If you were in, you were a devotee. If you were out, you weren't. There was only quite a clear line, you could say. And everybody in the temple went on Harinam. Everybody. Including the pujaris and cooks. They would have some schedule. They would go out 1 or 2 days. We would go out 7 days a week on Harinam. And Sunday feast would be like dynamite. Dynamite. Someone told me, I think it was Gaur Hari, I bought this packet in, what did he say? Where's Gaur Hari? Yeah. You said dynamite, didn't you? Something like that. I don't know if it looks like dynamite. It's more than dynamite. Pictures of Krishna Balaram. But it was the Sunday feast was dynamite. Everybody is sitting down and preaching. Every devotee would sit next to a guest. All week, come for the Sunday feast, come for the Sunday feast, come for the Sunday feast. Sunday feasts were worth waiting for. They were because the prasad was simple during the week, Simple, fantastic, rice dal chapatis every day, 6 days a week with rice dal chapatis. We rarely had vegetables. The vegetables were whatever was there. For the deity offering, we would take the potato peels and put them in the dal. Apple peels in the dal from the deity offering. Whatever we can get our hands on, if a few leftovers from the vegetables offered to the deities, direct man, then we will put that in the dal to make it crunchy and tasty and a little different. Sometimes we get donations, sometimes we'd have more. It would be subject, but on Sunday everything would be saved up for the Sunday feast. You can't. My mouth is starting to water. I can't taste it, but I'm kind of tasting it now. I mean, the effort. I was telling a devotee yesterday, we would start the Sunday feast on Monday, the day after, planning the Sunday feast, where we're going to get boga, what we're going to cook, who's going to cook, how much, all sorts of plans. By Thursday, cooking began. Gulab Jamuns would be cooked on Thursday. Friday we make chutney, so it'd be really, not just, half cooked or whatever. Thoroughly, proper. Saturday, we cook many things on Saturday. By the way, when I say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I mean at night. There was no time to do it in the day. We would cook the sweet rice for 8 hours. 8 hours. I used to cook a lot of the sweet rice. We start about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening and finish at Mangalarti. And there's a secret to this. I'm not going to tell the secret now. It's not that you have to stand there all night long. There's another trick to this. And the sweet rice is like cream. It's translucent rice in the creamy milk. And anyway, there's much more to it than that, but that's just the beginning. And it was irresistible, with hot football-shaped puris, soft and delicious, to go with it on the feast. Samosas were, if you didn't cook samosas, that was your last Sunday feast. You would be allowed to cook again. You know, it was just a standard push pan of rice, mahabrinjal. These were just normal preparations, and there were special ones on top. Halava was like explosive. It was like explode in the mouth. What is this?
You cannot concentrate on that.
You can't concentrate. Your senses are running wild. Well, I'm concentrating like anything because this is again the spirit of Srila Prabhupada. This is his spirit, you know. How to capture our senses. Those wild horse senses. There was one day of the week which was the most common day to bloop. You know the word bloop? You know this word? What does it mean?
Disappear.
Pardon?
Disappear.
Disappear. Well done, Yadav. I don't think nowadays it's probably not such a well-known. I don't know how Prabhupada said bloop, like into the water, bloop, going back into the material, drop a little stone, bloop, into the water. So the term bloop came into ISKCON, it means leaving the movement. Monday was generally the main day. If anyone was going to bloop, it was Monday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, hardly anyone would ever bloop, because the Sunday feast was coming closer. Experience of a life. We were too intoxicated on Sunday to leave, so you have to wait till Monday, you know. Couldn't get it together to leave on Sunday. And if the devotee was going to leave, you know, what to say, it would be Monday. But the Sunday feast was extraordinary. Prabhupada started his love feast in the Bowery, not in Second Avenue. He started the love feast in the Bowery. That's in his diary, you can read it. In the Bowery. Around about April, May, maybe 66. First love, what he called love feast. And from there it grew, and it became like, you know, major, all over the world, advertised Hare Krishna love feast. Of course, it was maybe misinterpreted. Let's read something. One day, Malati. Who were the other famous devotees? Okay, here's one of them, Malati. Who else? Pardon? Janaki. Janaki was Mukunda's wife. Malati was wife of Shamsundar. And who was the other one? Jamuna. And Gurudas. So they were married. So Prabhupada got them married. Those days we didn't usually get married. But Prabhupada got them married. And they were pretty much the first local devotees. Obviously devotees came from New York to San Francisco. Mukunda was one of those who came from New York to San. Harvey Cohen, who later on became Haridas, was, I think, even before Mukunda, in San Francisco. And they started this chapter in San Francisco. And a very exciting time in their movement. I mean, you can imagine how exciting it must have been. And let's see what excitement we're going to get now. One day, Malati. Now, it'd be nice to know what date we're on here. I didn't see it. I think if she's being addressed as Malati, so presumably she's been initiated. And let's see. Anyway, we'll see what's going on. One day, Malati hurried into Srila Prabhupada's apartment, took a small item out of her shopping bag, and placed it on Prabhupada's desk for his inspection. She said, "What is this, Swamiji?" Srila Prabhupada looked down and beheld a 3-inch, I guess it's about 3-inch, wooden doll with a flat head, a black smiling face, and big round eyes. You might have a clue already, I don't know. Maybe a voodoo. The figure had stubby, forward jutting arms. It's not a voodoo, because voodoos have like spiky hands like this. So where are we now? This is very mystifying. What is this? Let us see. and a simple green and yellow torso with no visible feet. Strange, huh? Maybe LSD is being some influences here. Srila Prabhupada immediately folded his palms and bowed his head, offering the little figure respects. Prabhupada said, "You have brought Lord Jagannatha, the Lord of the universe." Phew. Can you imagine? And we're here. Maybe we're here. How? I don't know. Let's see. Prabhupada smiled with bright eyes and said, "He is Krishna. Thank you very much." We may take it for granted sometimes, but Prabhupada has seen even this little figurine, maybe purchased or maybe something else from a shop in San Francisco. Srila Prabhupada beamed with pleasure, while Malati and others sat amazed at their good fortune of seeing Swamiji so pleased. Prabhupada explained that this was Lord Jagannatha, a deity of Krishna, worshipped all over India for thousands of years. Jagannath, he said, is worshipped along with two other deities. And you probably know who they are. Who knows? Difficult question. Oof. Anyone got a clue who those other two are?
Lord Baladev.
Lord Baladev. And one other. Subhadra. Wow. Rathayatra ki jai. Excitedly, Malati confirmed that there were other similar figures at cost plus. There was a kind of, I guess, some kind of store in San Francisco where they would sell imported things, and, all sorts of stuff. Which was an import store where she had found a little Jagannath. And Srila Prabhupada says she should go back and buy them.
What's the other?
Huh?
Lord Jagannatha.
Pardon? No, don't break the ice. Keep quiet. We're reading the book, we're not jumping forward yet. Malati told her husband Shyam Sundar, and together they hurried back, and it says here, bought the two other dolls in the set. Now, it might well be for, what would we say? Public relations, I don't use that word nowadays, but for impressions for the reader, if the truth were to be written, and maybe it would have a contrary effect on the reader, I don't know. But as Gaur Hari Prabhu said, and I can't say if it tells more about it later, but Lord Jagannath controls everything, and he controlled the heart of Malati to rescue Lord Jagannath from cost plus, and also not sacrifice Lakshmi Devi, so to speak, in return. So, as was mentioned there, she kind of, I don't like to say this, it's not a good, huh?
She took them home.
She liberated, okay. Save them. That's what happened, but without sacrificing Lakshmi Devi, she obtained, whatever, slipped them in her pocket and came back to the temple. Srila Prabhupada placed the black-faced smiling Jagannath on the right. In the center he placed the smallest figure, Subhadra, who had a red, smiling mouth and a rectangular black and yellow torso. The third figure, Balaram, with a white round head, red rimmed eyes and a happy red smile, had the forward jutting arms like Jagannath and a blue and yellow base. Prabhupada placed him next to Subhadra. As Prabhupada looked at them together on his desk, he asked if anyone knew how to carve. And imagine if Baladev were there now. He would be in ecstasy. And Prabhupada said, anyone knows how to carve? Our Baladev would put his hand up, alias Bruno. Up would go the hand. And what would Prabhupada ask him to do? Pardon? Carve Jagannatha. So let's hear what happened. Shamsundar said he was a wood sculptor. And Prabhupada asked him to carve 3-foot-high copies of little Jagannath, Balaram and Subhadra. Now for those who don't know, metric here, isn't it? Metric. So 3 foot high is a little shorter than 3 meters. No, 1 meter. Little shorter than 1 meter. Yeah, a little shorter, a few inches short of 1 meter. 3 feet. There's 3 feet in a yard. A yard is a little shorter, 3 inches shorter to be exact, to a meter. So you can imagine almost a meter high, something like this, I guess. I don't know. I can't see from here, but whatever. And he wanted him to carve like that. Quite a revolutionary thing, quite extraordinary for the Western world, you could see. I don't know what your experience is. I don't know how many Rath Yatras you've been to. Does everyone know what Rath Yatra is? You've been to Paris or somewhere on Rath Yatra? Well, there's about 700 Rath Yatras a year in ISKCON, roundabout. I don't know, COVID, of course, since COVID, I don't know if it's back to 700 or more or less, I don't know. But before COVID, it was about 700 listed Rath Yatras a year. There are cities like Delhi now, there's 20 to 30 or 40 Rath Yatras a year in one city. Delhi, India, Delhi. Yeah, 20, 30, 40 Rath Yatras a year in one city, in different suburbs. And in Malaysia, which is a Muslim country, we average 30 a year, Rath Yatras. It's a Muslim country. But we do Rath Yatra in all the major cities, about 20, 30 a year. So that in England, I don't know, maybe they do 40 or so in England all over the year. Parashram has his cart, he goes one day, sometimes the next day, another Rath Yatra like that. So Rath Yatra is going on all over the world, and I have never, and of course there have been, but I have never experienced anybody challenging this Rath Yatra festival. I've been on festivals like in Malaysia where the majority of the viewers are Muslims, and I've never heard anyone criticize or, cause any trouble. In fact, many times in Malaysia, the Muslims come forward to pull the cart. They get into the festival, they dance, they pull the cart, they take prasadam, and they get into the festival. Prabhupada wanted to create festivals. It's not just an official festival like the Balaram festival. It means our life should be a festival. I was looking at the trees yesterday. I was sitting in the hut yesterday evening trying to chant some japa and talking to some devotees. Looking at the trees, if you know down there in ex-Little India, there's beautiful trees. And I was just seeing a festival. You can imagine all the trees suddenly changing colors. You know how much people like firework displays, isn't it? You were there for the firework display in the manor? Yeah. All the different colors in the sky. And it's fascinating, isn't it? You don't know what's coming, going woo, woo, and all these colors go flying out in different directions. It's a festival for the eyes, isn't it? Prabhupada simply said one time, he said, simply sparkling on the eyes. He wasn't so impressed, just some sparkling. But in material sense, people love this. It's so exciting to see all these various colors coming out and so on. And like that, the trees, and perhaps because I used to take LSD, I don't know, but I could just kind of visualize all these trees changing colors, not just all green, but multicolored, and changing colors. A festival. Imagine the trees dancing to the kirtan and changing colors. It's a bit beyond our vision. But this is festive. It's not just, nice green trees, but everything in the spiritual world is unlimited, conscious, pleasing to Krishna's senses. So Rath Yatra really is a very pleasing festival, everything, multicolored, very diverse, very attractive to all kinds of people, very colourful. And Prabhupada describes Rath Yatra in London in 1973, how that cart was so beautifully decorated, just like in Jagannath Puri, and how the people of London, they considered Lord Jagannath, Prabhupada writes, that Lord Jagannath, the Rath Yatra chariot, a rival to Nelson's column. Prabhupada said the people of London, because it was written in the newspaper. Let's read on. So it's a very important festival. Lord Jagannath comes, and he's, in one sense, the deity of this section of Lord Brahma's day. More than 2,000 years ago, Prabhupada explained, there was a king named Indradumna, a devotee of Lord Krishna. Maharaj Indradumna wanted a statue of the Lord as he had appeared when he and his brother and sister had travelled on chariots to the holy field of Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse. It's a long story. Vishvakarma, to sculpture the forms. Vishvakarma agreed on the condition that no one interrupt his work. The king waited for a long time while Vishvakarma worked behind locked doors. One day, however, the king felt he could wait no longer, and he broke in to see the work in progress. Vishvakarma, true to his word, vanished, leaving behind the uncompleted forms of the three deities. The king was nevertheless so pleased with the wonderful forms of Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra that he decided to worship them as they were. He installed them in a temple and began worshipping them with great opulence. This is just a little summary of a rather long story. There's a little book out called Jagannath Priya Natakam. It's a dramatic, Tamal Krishnamaj compiled this, a dramatic description of this particular pastime. It's a drama. He put it in a dramatic form. We saw it in Mayapur, for premiere, showing in Mayapur a long, long time back, maybe in the 90s, I can't remember.
86.
Pardon?
It was on 86.
86, okay, a long time ago. And it's wonderful. It was so exciting to read. It's a very exciting book. There's a little bit of dramatic license, of course, in there, but basically it outlines the whole story. One day, we read them. The king, pleased, worshipping them. Yeah, okay. Since that time, Srila Prabhupada continued, Lord Jagannath has been worshipped all over India, especially in the province of Orissa, where there is a great temple of Lord Jagannatha at Puri. Each year at Puri, during the gigantic Rath Yatra festival, millions of pilgrims from all over India come to worship Lord Jagannath, Balaram and Subhadra, as the deities ride in procession on three huge carts. Lord Chaitanya, who spent the last 18 years of his life at Jagannath Puri, used to dance and chant in ecstasy before the deity of Lord Jagannath during the yearly Rath Yatra. Seeing the appearance of Lord Jagannath in San Francisco as the will of Krishna, Prabhupada said that they should be careful to receive and worship Lord Jagannath properly. If Shamsundar could carve the forms, Prabhupada said he would personally install them in the temple, and the devotees could then begin worshipping the deities. San Francisco, he said, could be renamed New Jagannath Puri. He chanted, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me Bolo Jagannatha Swami Yana Patagami Bhavatu Me. This is a mantra for Lord Jagannath, he said. Jagannath means Lord of the universe. O Lord of the universe, kindly be visible unto me. It is very auspicious, and he has chosen to appear here. Shamsundar bought 3 large blocks of hardwood and Prabhupada made a sketch and pointed out a number of details. Using the small statues, Shyamsundar calculated ratios and new dimensions and began carving on the balcony of his apartment. Meanwhile, the devotees bought the rest of the tiny Jagannaths from Cosplas, and it became a fashion to glue a little Jagannath to a simple necklace and wear him around the neck, just like how Charles does here. If you know Charles, he almost always has this little Jagannath hanging around his neck. He was here over the festival, you could see. Because Lord Jagannath was very liberal and merciful to the most fallen, Srila Prabhupada explained, the devotees would soon be able to worship him in their temple. The worship of the forms of Radha and Krishna in the temple required very high, strict standards, which the devotees were not yet able to meet. But Lord Jagannath was so merciful that he could be worshipped in a simple way, mostly by chanting Hare Krishna, even if the devotees were not very much advanced. Prabhupada set March the 26th, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, as a day for installing the deities. The devotees would have a big feast and begin worshipping Lord Jagannath. Prabhupada said they would have to build an altar, and he told them how to prepare it. While Shyamsundar hurried to finish his carving, a small splinter lodged itself in his hand, and the wound became infected. Finally, Shyamsundar got blood poisoning and became so sick that he had to go to hospital. Lord Jagannath was taking away the reactions to Shyamsundar's previous sinful activities, Prabhupada said. So you can probably learn a lesson from that. Not that we should go out of our way to cut our hand and get blood poisoning or something, but sometimes these things happen. On March the 26th, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada had said that during the morning they would stay together in the temple, read about Lord Chaitanya and hold kirtan, and in the evening they would have a ceremony for installing Lord Jagannath. Having fasted until moonrise, they would then break fast with the prasadam feast. When Srila Prabhupada entered the temple that morning, he saw the work the devotees had done. The new altar stood in the rear of the room, above where his dais had been. And his dais was now on the right side of the room. It's like a little platform that Prabhupada would sit on, against the wall. From his seat, he would be able to see the altar very easily. The altar was a simple redwood plank, 7 feet above the floor, and fixed between 2 thick redwood pillars. It's quite high, 2 meters above the floor. They would like that in London, in Bury Place, the first official temple in UK, and the deities there, Radha Krishna, Radha Londoneshwar, they were installed in December 69, and also Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath had been prepared also by Shyamsundar in London, deities, so they were also worshipped from 69 onwards. And they were on the altar also at the installation. And if you see pictures of those days in Bury Place, you'll see a platform above Radha and Krishna. And on that platform, like 7 foot up maybe, is Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. Quite big, similar to the San Francisco ones. And they would stand there, it was amazing. And then Lord Radha Krishna down below, Jagannath up above. It was a small room. So we had the deities like that, 1, 2, 3, Gauritai on the lower platform, and then Radha Krishna, and then Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra on the top platform, up above everyone. And they were dressed once a week. We'd only dressed them once a week. Standard was simple. The day worship of Radha Londoneshwar, Prabhupada says, should not take more than 30 minutes in the morning to do the puja. 30 minutes. There were none of all these mantras and mudras and this and that. It was very simple. Just change the dress, clean the altar, finished. Chant Hare Krishna. Very simple. Save time for Harinam or other services. Those things have grown, developed, and obviously it's not the same now. Deities were dressed very simply also. You know, we didn't know about turbans and this and that. Simple crowns. You want to say, why don't we do that now? Yeah, okay.
I heard that the devotees in Prabhupada's time, many places they would chant the japa
Yeah.
in front of the deities.
Absolutely.
The deities.
Deities would close at 6:30. We had no Tulsi Puja, no Guru Puja. Day after Mangalarti, the deity would stay open until 6:30, and then the curtains would close.
And the pujaris would chant japa.
The pujaris would also, many times, would be sitting chanting japa in front of the deities. Very simple, very nice. Everything's very nice. I'm not saying there's right or wrong. Things grow, and Krishna has his ways. He's a controller. He wants more, or whatever he wants. But it was what the situation was at the time. All right, Prabhupada said. No, what did he say? Prabhupada took his seat. No, we must check. When Prabhupada entered the temple room, yes, we read that, simple. A canopy covered the place where the deities would stand. Below the altar hung Haridas's painting of Lord Chaitanya and his associates dancing during Kirtan in Paris. Now, we took that beautiful painting to Paris of Lord Chaitanya dancing. You can see it in Paris. I don't know if this is... It's an original painting, but maybe not the one that was there in San Francisco. And behind the painting was a Madras backdrop. About 3 feet above the floor is 1 meter. A shelf below the painting held candlesticks and would be used for articles to be offered to the deities. Prabhupada took his seat, as usual. He led Kirtan and then chanted 1 round of japa with the devotees. That was another unique feature of many of those early years or so in ISKCON, that Prabhupada would sit with devotees and chant japa in unison. Then he had Hayagriva read aloud from the biographical sketch of Lord Chaitanya from the first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. Many devotees were a little sleepy, despite Hayagriva's reading loudly with force and elocution. Although Prabhupada was listening attentively and wanted the others to sit with him and hear about Lord Chaitanya, when he saw so many were dozing, he stopped the reading and held another kirtan. Then he chanted japa with them for about 15 minutes. All right, he said, we will read again. Who will lead? Who will read? Lilamrita's hand flew up urgently. All right. He had her sit near her dais, and someone placed a microphone before her. Lilamrita's reading presented a contrast to the deep tones of Hayagriva. But she was another scholarly voice. Her careful pronunciation of the Sanskrit words and phrases was pleasing to Prabhupada, and he several times commented, "Oh, very nice." Lilamrita was thrilled and read on intensely, determined to keep everyone awake. Hare Krishna. So time is up. You have to hear the rest. It's very, very exciting. This is a very exciting chapter of our movement. And the same. Just to see the spirit of Prabhupada's preaching. And don't forget, although presumably most of us here are a little bit more experienced and maybe a little bit more applying more, you could say, the Vaishnava etiquette and behaviors and so on and so forth in our lives, but when new people come to the Krishna consciousness movement, this same spirit is required in order to attract them. You can't always expect them to plug into a Brahminical standard. You've got to plug in, as Prabhupada did, when they installed the deities, the devotees were not even dressed they didn't wear dhotis or shaved heads. They had jeans on and t-shirts. And the installation was waving a candle at Lord Jagannatha. Then you give the candle to the next one and wave it. Installed through Kirtan. Not like now where it's like a 3-day event with, other than the pujaris, no one has a clue what's going on. And there's hundreds of thousands of mantras and this thing and that thing. It's all good. It's all good. But keep it simple. We're not here. We're here to chant the holy names, hear the Krishna Katha, worship the deities, no doubt, but to keep it simple and try to encourage people to, let's say, connect with Krishna accordingly. The art of the spirit of preaching Krishna consciousness. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So hopefully we're going to be able to participate in Prabhupada's pastimes today in tours, those who are free, willing, able. Prabhupada's spirit. Let us share that spirit in tours today, wherever we go, wherever it may be. Hare Krishna. Maharaj Brahma Vishnu Maharaj will be not alone. There's a few local devotees there in Uganda preaching Krishna consciousness.
I got some videos today from, Ashram Maharaj, Govinda Bhakata.
Yeah.
He's in Benin.
In Benin, he told me, I spoke to him at the Rath Yatra, he told me he was going to
He
Benin.
sent me all these pictures
Well, send him a message.
of people dancing.
I have some free, sponsored French Bhagavatam sets. Benin is French speaking.
I'll try to say that.
Yeah, if he wants, I can provide them. We don't care who they are. If people get Prabhupada's books, that's pleasing to Prabhupada. So we have about 10 sponsored sets from this last week for French books in Africa.
Where are they?
They're with us here. Getting them there is the problem, and it's very hard to send things to these countries because of corruption. 99% of the time, the devotees tell me they don't reach their destination. Neither by air, neither by DHL, neither by post, neither by boat, neither. The only safe way is to take them yourself. It's not easy. I mean, there's a chance it will get through, but it's risky. Very, very risky. About 1% chance, they say. One of the problems of preaching in these countries today. But we're going to find where there's a will, there's a way. We have to find a way. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.